So this segment, I want to discuss some, really corrupt, in my opinion, actions from the Labour Party. So this from Michael Crick. Michael Crick was a Blairite, very pro Tony Blair, writing, tweeting, interesting, Labour's new climate envoy, Rachel Kite, is co-chair of the Climate Advisory Board for Quadrature Climate Foundation, linked to Quadrature hedge fund based in the Cayman Islands, which invests in fossil fuel firms. Quadrature gave Labour £4 million on the 28th of May at the start of the election campaign, a fact that only emerged a week ago. So we discussed this £4 million donation from this hedge fund that makes money through oil and arms. Now, a person who was who works for this company was given a job by the Labour Party. She's our new climate envoy. This is, if I've ever seen a conflict of interest bigger than that, I don't know if I've seen a conflict of interest really as big as this for a while. But point being is, like, she, is linked to a company that makes money through essentially oil, which, oil does contribute a lot to climate change. And she's our new climate envoy. A company that made £4 million donation to the Labour Party. Now, if that's not corrupt, I don't know what it is, because if it's happened under Conservatives, I guarantee you I know what people would be saying about it, despite what Rachel Reeves has said.
Making sure we're getting a grip of cronyism, because I think what really grates is that people donate and then they get something in return.
Yeah, people donate and get something in return. Whoops. And then, Zara Sultana talking about this as well. Google providing 10k of hospitality to senior Labour figures, and the party ditched plans to raise digital service tax. Quadrature, the company we just mentioned, and basically the exact situation. So, for anyone who's looking for corruption already, I think we've already found it, and we're barely a few months into this Labour government. And the original story, so I'm reading about the time. I really wish I covered it, to be honest with you, but I don't know what I was doing with my life at that point. August 2023, what was I doing? But senior Labour figures accepted valuable gifts from Google in the days before abandoning a tax plan, a plan to tax digital giants more. Open Democracy can reveal. Labour Shadow Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds, his senior parliamentary assistant, who is his wife, and that's a bit weird, and Starmer's political director all attended Glastonbury Festival in June as guests of YouTube, which is owned by Google, including accommodation and hospitality. Reynolds estimates his Glastonbury package for two was worth £3,377, which is a tremendous amount more than the two regular tickets of £355. Glastonbury is not cheap, guys. The next day, reports emerged that Labour had ditched its proposals to hike tax on digital businesses like Google, and so far I've not found any stories about Labour talking about a digital services tax. Originally, they said they dropped, originally some of the briefings were around Labour dropping this charge because of the fact that they didn't want to annoy the US. But, the fact that Google, this is what I mean, guys, when I talk about optics and things like that, they might have done it because they don't want to annoy the US, or they might have done it because of corruption. We don't actually know, because you can't look inside someone's heart to see intent. It might be the case that they dropped it because they got these hospitality packages, and now they're like, look, we need to find a justification as to why we dropped it, and we can't argue it's down to Google, down to donation, so we have to come up with something, make it up, effectively. That looks like what's happened here. There is this article from the Labour List, that came out around a similar time. It's like 26th of June 2023, and this one was the 30th of August, so around a similar time, a couple of months within each other. The Times suggested that Labour had abandoned another proposal for government in the shape of a $3 billion tax raid on tech firms like Amazon and Facebook. Again, that would have covered the winter fuel allowance, wouldn't it? Have not. Labour confirmed it has no plans to raise digital service tax in government, but said it only ever planned the hike, which is repeatedly called for until as recently as April, as a temporary measure. So why would you only temporarily do this tax? It makes zero sense to just do it for a year, especially if it was going to raise around £3 billion. So again, like, this justification feels off. So I'm just not seeing it. The party has plans to make a fairer tax system, rather, about business rates and things like that for brick and mortar stores, which I think is good. But ultimately, like, if you're not going to do something about digital companies that can basically undercut, high street stores, And I'm guilty of this as well. I'm guilty of using online stores and stuff. I think we all are. But that does kill off the high street. But if the high street does have more kind of competitive edges or tax breaks or whatever, it can help that out. Essentially, high street shopping is dying, and it wasn't just the consumer that killed it. Um, but with this here, I mean, this is pretty corrupt, guys. I'm not gonna lie, especially this first one about the Google thing. 10k. Are we that cheap? They provided 10k, and potentially they could have saved millions, from this tax. It's just shocking how cheap politicians are in this country. And this idea that they're dealing with cronyism, it's just the only difference now is Labour are going to announce the stuff that they get. It's going to be clearer who is donating to them. But in terms of motivations, that's always going to be murky because again, you don't know what's in someone's heart. But this is incredibly fishy, in my opinion, and I'm not about it, guys. Like, this massive donation was a huge problem. Now we know one of the things this company has gotten out of it. They managed to get one of their people as the climate envoy. And do you think they're going to do a good job when some of the money that they would make is off oil, off climate change? I don't think so. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Did I mention this is an offshore hedge fund as well, based in the Cayman Islands, which probably doesn't pay that much in tax? How much are Labour actually really going to deal with that kind of stuff when they're benefiting from donations from these sorts of companies? But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.